Welcome, students, to Monk Meditation, the show about monks in the world of Warcraft.
The next patch will be quite valorous, and we'll tell you how best to handle the belt, and we add to Blizzard's crash course by talking stat priorities, coming up on Monk Meditation, episode 22.
Here's your host, Chai T.
Hello everybody, we're back together and it's time to get our monk on. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Chai T from Airy Peak, US, Windwalker and Mistweaver. Joining me tonight is the regular crew minus one. From Airy Peak, we've got a pair of fantastic Mistweavers. Now Yuki, how you doing, man?
I'm good. It's been a very long time and I'm glad to be here. Old gang is back and I'm ready to talk about stuff.
Alright, going on to Daikatsu, also covering Brewmaster today.
I'm pulling double duty today, apparently.
Yep.
Just put it right on my shoulders. I can take that.
Double fisting that monk action?
Yeah, we dual wield for a reason as a brewmaster.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on to the Windwalker. Air, how you doing, man?
I am fantastic today. How about all you guys? How are you feeling?
Doing great, except for the whole sickness. That's why I've got my tea right here.
See, it's always morning for me on these shows, so I'm surprisingly awake. You would think I'm a very morning-esque person, but it's all the coffee. It's like intravenously, like I wake up, coffee. Yes, there we go. So set to talk about monks today.
Alright, well, let's check in with tonight's host on how WoW is now in...
Storm, Earth,
and fire! Alright, Daikatsu, how are we doing, man, in Rolling Thunder?
We are doing just dandy. We've gotten to the point where now we are clearing 12 bosses in a single night, which is great because we only raid once a week.
Yeah, and we've done it twice now.
Yeah, we've done it twice now, and last time we did it with 3 pugs, 3 really awesome pugs, but still.
And, man, I'll tell you, the loot has been dropping for me like crazy. Not only did I get Foxtail Tip, not only did I get Harem's Talisman, I got the Tier Helm and Tier Shoulders in the same night. So now up to I'm rocking the 4-piece and 2 good trinkets.
You're rocking the 4-piece.
Yeah.
All right.
And Duke, didn't you get 4-piece as well?
Actually, at this point, I've got 5-piece. And I have managed to replace every single bit of Raid Finder and Flex gear that I have with at least a 553 at this point. So it was just dropping like crazy, including where a Haram's dropped, and I rolled against a Hunter, and I won. I won.
Didn't we get like crazy amount of leather on Friday?
Oh yeah, it was agility leather night where I'm picking between 3 pairs of boots.
Yeah.
I'm like, which one of these works? I'll just keep all 3. So they're all in the bank in case I need them in the future.
And I think I got a pair of boots too. I took them just in case I want to change my stat priority, I'll go ahead and take this. Well, Air, how's it going for you?
Oh, things are going well. We hit the new raid team. We talked about the old raid team kind of folded about a little over a month ago. So we have a new raid team with actually 5 members of the old team, which is nice. And we're recruiting. We're working on getting a bench set up so when people have to go away for vacation, we can still raid without a problem. So our team, working as intended, is what we are called. And we're still recruiting a little bit, but we have 12 people so far. And our second week in, we're 14 of 14 normal. And next week we're starting with heroics.
All right.
So it's been nice. It's interesting because we've actually been seeing a decent amount of Warforged gear dropping.
Like 1 or 2 pieces
each night. I don't know. I've been doing my messages to the Watcher and the Celestalon and anyone who will listen about maybe buffing that 10-man normal and heroic Warforged drop rate, because 25-man, they get that, it helps them out, and I know we're all getting some extra boost later on, which we'll talk about later, but to equal that chance, to get that elation of having that extra 6-ish item levels, it just feels good, and it makes you want to keep trying.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping they buff that some more, but good raid weekend. Of course, I'm working on my transmog.
Yeah.
Transmog is very important.
I think
I'm
like,
still a Draenei, but
yeah. Now, Yuki, did you get a new transmog this week too? Did you join the Cool Kids Club?
No, the one that you saw was actually my Brewmaster transmog, which I can't have on my Mistweaver, so I just keep like the tier whatever it is now, 16,
Okay.
17, whatever we're on now.
I've got a new transmog. Duke's got a new transmog.
Yep.
Air's got a new, very flamboyant transmog, or flamboyant, one or the other.
flamboyant. Yes,
Yes.
it's full of fire. And
The one I really want, I'm almost done with. I just have to farm heroic ICC 25. I just need 2 more pieces, I think. And I'm done.
Cool.
nice.
All right, now
Blizzard
I love that rogue set. Love it.
this week had a special sale. I believe it's 33%
yeah.
off certain cosmetic items within the game. Now, did you guys take advantage of this wonderful deal?
No.
No, because the gear is ugly as sin. I see how you have made it work, but my fashion skills are seriously lacking.
A lot of fire.
I'm a hairy chick.
Fire.
Yep. All right, now Yuki, how's Raiden going for you, man?
Very, very good. Edamame Enterprise is now 3 out of 14 heroic, so we've been quite busy. We have Immersius, Narushan, and Galacrus on heroic, working on protectors and Sha. And Sha is such a pain. Such a pain. So is protectors. But we are no longer clearing normal, so we're focusing on just working heroics for now until 5.0, 4.8, and all that stuff, and 6.0. Trying to get gear, and we just basically gave up trying to farm trinkets for the healers because I don't think there's such thing in this game. 'Cause they never drop. Unless you're Duke, then you get a Warforged.
Yeah.
You know? But,
It's the first drop, too. It's like, oh, look, Warforged, bid.
I rolled every week, even in Flex, and I have the Flex version from a roll, but, man, Thok doesn't like us. Sha doesn't like us. Ever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We-
very proud of my team.
The harems that we got on Friday was the first harems we've seen since we started raiding.
Period.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I got one on a bonus roll, but we still have a hunter who was, like, over the moon when she saw it drop and then saw Duke's 98.
Then
and said-
realized. Well, no, she rolled a 3.
Wow.
Yeah, she rolled a 3.
She rolled a
Ouch.
3. She
It's
wanted
not
it. She
like-
should have tried harder.
That Wheel of Fortune
I
rules
kicked
or
my
whatever
ass
it
on
is,
Friday.
closest to 0? No.
All right, well,
Yeah, we had to disenchant one of those this week.
shut up. Time
Oh,
to
you
get
guys
caught
have
up.
your heirlooms?
I do.
A good.
I got
some.
the wrong one. I'm pissed.
Were you set up in the wrong loot spec?
No. They gave me the mace, and I wanted the staff.
Ah,
So
all right.
I don't know how hard it is for Mistweavers to get the staff, but I really want that staff.
All right, 3 times the charm. Time to get got up in the crazy whirlwind of WoW news in.
Dizzying haze.
Okay, so there is actually quite a bit of WoW news, and breaking news just came out earlier today. 5.4.8 tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I just woke up, so I don't know any of this news. That is fantastic
I
news.
found out
I'm
about
quite
5
excited
minutes
about
before
that.
the podcast started. I'm like, oh, crap. So, big changes coming in 5.4.8. Let's see. Daikatsu, do you want to go over the epic items?
Well, I mean, for one thing, like you said, epic items are going to get an additional 2 upgrades, so we're going to go up to 4 upgrades. Your cloak will not get automatically updated to 616. You will have to pay the 500 Valor for that. But other than that, everything that drops on Timeless Isle and all versions of Siege of Orgrimmar is going to have 4 possible upgrade items. So get ready to spend a buku load of Valor.
Yeah, get in there tonight and do your challenge modes or heroic scenarios or whatever you have to do. Get Valor Cap tonight because you're going to need it. So, some big changes here. So, the amp trinkets, like Thok's Tail Tip and the, was it something?
Purified bindings?
No, it's like, it's a PPP, so Purified Prism of something or other. It's a healer or amp trinket. Those are going up at Heroic, Warforged.
Oh, Purified Bindings.
I thought it was PPE.
Yeah, the prismatic prism of pride.
Prismatic prism.
Yes, there
that's
it is.
You have the
Prismatic
purified
prism.
binding to Mercius, which
Yeah,
double
that's
lamp
the-
on
that's-
a Mistweaver. Eh?
Yeah,
Eh?
those are wrist.
So at 588, which is going to be
Want those.
the 4 times upgrade heroic Warforged, that's going up to 9.7% amp. So that's pretty nice. Assurance of Consequence at 588 is going to be 54.26% cooldown reduction, and Harems will be at 19.4% chance of multi-strike. So, heirloom weapons, additionally, will automatically get the 4 upgrades. So at flex versions will be 556, and if you already have those, they will get updated tomorrow. Normals will be 569, and heroic will be 590. So that's really nice.
That's a lot of eye levels.
Yes.
I might wear my mace now.
Right. So now you
Wait,
can.
590?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean I never realized that the heirlooms have an extra 2 item levels?
I may
For
have
fun?
had that wrong then.
Maybe you mean 488,
No, it should be
588.
588.
588. Sorry.
All right, there we go.
Yes. Sorry.
588. That's a very cool number.
Yep.
I strive for 588, like my main hand weapon will be.
Air, you want
Air's got
to?
that pimp hand strong.
Yep. You want to go over the timeless coin changes?
Timeless coin. Let's see. They're actually going to be useful, which is nice. And it looks like this might not be coming exactly tomorrow. No, sorry, this
Should
one will
be.
be coming tomorrow. But yeah, the 3,000 timeless coins, you'll be able to turn those in for 100 valor points, which is great, unless you're like me and just recently spent 70,000 coins on finding a lot of bonkers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But what's nice about that is that it's a really easy way to get your main, if they have a lot of coins, get them geared up, get them all the valor they need. You know, that's 30,000 coins you need to get your valor cap for the week. And 30,000? Yeah.
Yep.
And what's great is if you have an alt, you get the Valor of the Ancients buff. They're ready to go right away too, which is nice. The one thing is that as of right now, they're not removing the 1,000 Valor per week cap.
Right.
So this will count towards that cap. But if they removed it, you'd see so many people on the Timeless Isle. It'd be great.
You'd be like bloody coin farming like crazy.
Yeah, I need to finish that up, and I'm tired of farming my other alts. So that would be a really nice thing to see. But again, I know Blizzard's trying to prevent burnout, but with all the content they're dropping, I don't know if they're going to have too much problem with that. You know.
So Strago in the chat room asked, and we'll go over this again. The legendary cloaks. When you get them, they will be 608. That is 2 item levels bumped. The other 2 item levels, going from 608 to 616, you will have to purchase. So it'll cost you 500 Valor to go from that. So they will not auto-upgrade you those 2. So you get 2 of 4. The PTR, for a short time when it came up, had a buff called Heart of the Valorous. And what that did is it doubled Valor gains. All you had to do was log in. So we were thinking that you'd only have to really get 500 Valor and you would be capped. And you would get 1,000 Valor for that. However, the buff is no longer active on the release candidate. So that may be something that comes in the future, but as far as we're aware, it's not going to be active tomorrow. But log in and see. Okay. So I found this interesting in that instead of nerfing Siege of Orgrimmar, which has been kind of what they do this late into an expansion. They'll nerf the content so that people can get in there and see it. Teams that are stuck can move forward. So they're taking a different tact on this one. They've been kind of moving towards this as content's moved on, but they're instead buffing the players, giving teams the option to buff themselves if they want to. I mean, if you really want that challenge, you're almost got that garage kill. You don't have to take more Valor into your item levels.
I have a feeling this is what we're going to see a lot of in Warlords of Draenor. We're not going to see the kind of auras that you saw in the previous 2 tiers. Because it's been said, I mean, they even said it in BlizzCon, that gear is the natural nerf.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I'm hoping that we see more like this, that we see more of the idea of, okay, we're going to increase drop rates by a slight bit, or we're going to increase Warforged drop rates, we're going to increase the gem slot upgrades, because now they've got 3 different dials that they can tune on the gear themselves.
So what they did in Cataclysm, and I think also in Wrath, is they came out in this time frame with epic gems.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that this time. Instead, they're going with this item level increase. Now, I think the one reason that they did that is to breathe life into the content like challenge modes and heroic scenarios, things that are missing. Even dungeons get a good amount of valor. Flex, LFR, these all grant valor. And so all these high-end raiders are going, crap, well, I need more item levels, so I'm going to go back and do this old content for valor coins, or for valor points. So it's a way to not only buff players in Siege, but also to breathe life into content that's been languishing for a little while.
Yeah.
And it keeps Siegecrafters from making all the money at the end of an expansion again.
Yep. You make enough money.
Yeah. Yeah, next expansion's going to be rough for professions all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta work on that nest egg
Actually,
now.
I think the only person the only profession that's going to be decent off is going to be engineers.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's pretty fair, because everyone's gonna want rocket boots.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to want
Description at the
rocket
beginning of
boots
the
and all of that.
expansion, too.
And the nice thing about those tinkers for non-engineers is that they're one-time use.
Interesting. Unless
Engineer-
they put... No, engineers.
No. Engineers get them unlimited use. For non-engineers, it's an item that you give to somebody and you have to use it every single time. So if you're an engineer, you're going to make a ton of bank selling those tinkers.
I like this change, the buffing the player versus nerfing the content. I
Yeah.
think it's fun. It adds something else to do right now. And, I mean, if it's already an easy clear, yes, I mean, a lot of the guys who've had this on farm for how many ever months some of the complaints are the fact that, well, it's going to allow them to do it quicker. So everyone's going to be grinding Valor again. It just adds more grind to it.
Yeah.
But this is for the other 99
This is for the people who were at 13
This is-
of 14 heroic and needed that extra little push.
That would have been really nice, but we'll see what happens right now, because if you're looking at the
Speaking
DPS
of
increase is great.
speaking of 1414, one person who won't be getting any of this gear is going to be LeBlue, because he finally took down Heroic Garage last week.
Yes, they
Yeah.
did. They did.
So he is just, it's like, that's it. I'm
He's
checked
done.
out.
He uninstalled the game already. He's on Diablo full time now.
Yep. Oh, and he was talking today about how he's going to be a Mistweaver next expansion, and
Oh boy.
I know.
All right. Well, let's.
Interesting.
Speaking of mistweaving, let's keep the spirits up while the world changes around us. And
The sky is falling! The sky is falling!
Uplift. Don't worry, I'm sure it happens to other monks too.
all right, Duke, I'm going to let you take this one. So we're going to be talking some tweets, mainly from Celestalon, because he likes to tweet a lot. So go ahead and take it away.
And does not sleep.
Nope.
He does not sleep. So the first one, we're talking Chi Explosion for Brewmasters. M. Lundstedt asked, are there concerns that Chi Explosion won't be used by mythic Brewmaster tanks due to the loss of Chi pulling? And he says, not really. You pull mostly for Purifying, which that still preserves. Reply back, I'm talking about the ability to pull Chi for timed guard uptimes. With Chi Explosion, the ability to do so is made more difficult, it seems. And he replied, right, that's why I said mostly. Guard is the other one you can pull for, but it's much less of the time. Can just pull for Chi Explosion also. The rejoinder, but with that, I can hold 2 Chi, and with Ascension, use the other 3 Chi for Blackout Kick and Purify. With Chi Explosion, it seems more about timing rather than pulling, as it will force Chi used past 2. Is that to change the current style within the Brewmaster style? Celestalon finally replied back with, but how long/often are you going to do that? You never need to time Blackout Kicks, just Purifies. So it's just Purify versus Guard in competition. With Chi Explosion, it's Chi Explosion versus Guard. A little harder, but not much. Besides, you still have Purify. So I don't think that you're going to see a lot of people staying, a lot of Brewmasters are going to go Chi Explosion if they need Chi Explosion.
Yeah. So Chi Explosion, when you use 3 Chi, will do basically a Blackout Kick plus a Purify. So what they're saying is the pooling for purify when you need it, and for shuffle when you need it, is one of the important parts of the Brewmaster playstyle. And they're wondering if with Chi Explosion, since you can't really pool, you can't go up to 4 or 5 if you got Ascension and hold it, because when you hit it, that's going to clear it all. And they're wondering if that's going to change the style of it at all, and it will change it. So you have to prioritize a little bit better, but it's not going to change it to that extreme.
But isn't that what we want for these talents?
Interesting
for the
choices,
level 100
yes.
talents is we want. Oh, do I want to play this way or do I want to play that way? So it's going to be interesting choices that we'll have to make. Now, will every single one pick Chi Explosion? God, I hope not. Because if it leans towards the way where, hey, every single tank is going to always want Chi Explosion all the time, then they did a really poor job of designing that tier.
All right, and I'm going to go to Naoyuki for this next one because this is his favorite ability ever.
Chi Torpedo! Dragon Strike asks, any chance that Chi Torpedo be changed for Windwalker to be something competitive with Rushing Jade Wind and Zuyin? That's right, I said Zuyin.
No, Schwen.
Celestinon replied, Chi Torpedo is lacking for everyone except Mistweaver. Since Rushing Jade Wind was changed to its current version, we're considering potential changes.
Yeah, so what changes?
Chi Torpedo, gone.
No. I use it like half the raid. Come on, you can't get
Yeah.
it.
Chi Torpedo is a
30% of
lot.
my healing.
Chi Torpedo is a lot of fun. I always thought what they should do is just make a baseline for Mistweavers. Like that's
Yeah, I
your
mean,
role.
That'd be nice.
If you're a Mistweaver, you should be using Chi Torpedo, because if not, you're Fist Weaving and then you're using Rushing Jade Wind. But
Right, but
I
Zhuan
would,
has a
I would
lot
not
of power.
I would not be surprised to see Chi Torpedo go baseline for Mistweavers, and then they add a glyph that makes your Chi Torpedo look like a roll, keeping the heal and the damage intact. That way you can choose if you want to be Superman or a tiny little ball, or Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right.
See, the one time I used Chi Torpedo was on Siegecrafter for the belts, because you're out, you're doing stuff, you need to heal yourself up there, and I forgot that Chi Torpedo automatically extends the
you go
distance
further.
of a regular roll. So the one
Hello,
time I
laser
used
beam.
it, wipe everyone.
Yep.
So that's my one and only time really using Chi Torpedo.
Yep.
We did not get along very well.
So there was a question from Kasuda on Twitter. He asked about Surging Mist for Windwalker. So why not allow Surging Mist to generate 1 chi for Windwalker? I understand why not for Brewmaster. So Celestion responds back, it's definitely less clear for Windwalker than it is for Brewmaster, as you say. It's something we're considering, but they're not sure. Generating 1 may be okay, because that's still a significant loss compared to the 2 chi from Jab or Expel Harm. We're still evaluating that. So right now, Surging Mist will not gain any chi whatsoever, because the Healing Sphere didn't either. So and that's kind of what it was replacing. So that's but I can see it being used. That would be an interesting way to gain chi. If you're low on health, just Surging Mist, Surging Mist, Surging Mist, Surging Mist, and you got 4, and then go to town.
Allows you to fight still, which is
That's
nice.
why they don't want to give the chi generation to Brewmasters, because
Right.
otherwise a Brewmaster's going to use it on, it's part of my rotation. I took a little bit of damage.
Heal yourself.
You've
back
got
up.
Expel
Yeah.
Harm, Surging Mist, there's 2 chi, Blackout Kick again.
Surging Miss an instant cast for Windwalkers?
No, it's got a cast time.
Okay, so you're taking extra time for greater than 1 GCD, which I'm guessing this would also scale with haste then.
Probably.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it, and that's at 2.5 GCD or second and a half cast time they're looking at then,
Should
or
be. Yeah. That's
Okay.
the same as it is.
I mean you're spending a little more time, you're getting a lot less benefit. It's still going to be like an oh crud kind of moment, or to help out with raid healing, like a lot of other classes can help with. So, but still get some benefit from, which is nice. So I think it'd be kind of an interesting change, especially maybe it's a nice way to offset or to go along with what they said a long time ago about wanting Windwalkers to be a little bit more helpful in the healing department for the raid itself.
Yeah,
But
and
it would
generating
make them really
the chi
strong in a
is,
10-man.
And generating the chi is a bit of, okay, you did something useful, here's a little bit back for you.
Yeah.
So
I'm all for getting the treats for doing good stuff.
yeah.
Right.
Now,
Because we can cast
I
on
understand.
other players, so.
Now the thing is, I understand their whole idea. They don't want a Windwalker to be an extra healer,
Right.
but at the same time, it really just makes less sense because the Windwalker is not going to be the primary beneficiary of Surging Mist. Whereas for a Brewmaster, yeah, I'm going to macro Surging Mist to myself and put it on a mouse wheel.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're not going to get any chi from that in Brewmaster, absolutely. So
Yeah.
possibly chi for Windwalker, we will see. All right, and Air, I'll let you take the next one.
All right. So next tweet: Storm, Earth and Fire. At Shockzine, would it be possible to have Storm, Earth, and Fire put a debuff on the mobs they are focused on to prevent attacking the same one? Mr. Celestalon replies, "Yep."
Woohoo!
Yay! Right now, there really isn't a good way to track that. I mean,
No.
if you have the Storm, Earth, and Fire add-ons, that's the only way to do it. And through some magic trickery, something, they're able to find out if you're on the same target or not. But if for people who don't want to use an add-on or who will be using the in-game Blizzard UI for Storm, Earth, and Fire, this would be a nice thing to have too.
Yeah.
It should also make tracking what goes where for logging purposes maybe a little bit easier then too.
Yeah, it's a real pain in the butt when you are going on an AoE pack and there are a whole bunch of mobs named the same thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have your add-on, it says, okay, this guy and this guy. It's like, okay, which of the five guys is that guy?
Which vermin is he attacking?
And so it'll be really nice to have that debuff because you can code like tidy plates or whatever you want to have the little debuff show up. And you'd even probably change the color of the bar, so really easy to tell who has Storm, Earth, and Fire, and that'll be fantastic.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah, that would
Yes.
be fantastic. So,
Fantastic.
thank you, Celestalon.
Fantastico.
Yep. So, other than that, there hasn't been too many changes on the alpha that we've seen. The alpha news has been really quiet, so not much to go over here. So, we're gonna take some time to impart some tips and tricks now for those raiding monks in
Fist of Fury. It's go time.
Entering the final wing of Siege of Orgrimmar, we come now across a goblin engineer designing a tools of mass destruction for Garrosh. It's time to put a stop to Siegecrafter Blackfuse. Alright, we're going to save Windwalker for last, because that's the most fun.
The fun one.
Yeah, we're going to take Brewmaster first, because that's probably the most boring one.
Yeah, it is. This isn't a wonderful fight for Brewmasters. It's your basic tank swap with an extra mob that comes out in the back. And honestly, that's kind of it. You're going to keep Siegecrafter in a single position, and he's going to stand there for the majority of the fight. Where you want to put him really is up to your raid team. We put him all the way on one side. I've seen raid teams put him on the other side away from the belt. I've seen raid teams put him by the entrance. But where you're going to put him really doesn't matter. All that counts is that he's in that one spot. You want to have it somewhere near the pipe to go onto the belts in case you've got a lot of melee that's jumping over. But if all you've got is range that's jumping over onto the belts, who cares where you place them? Excuse me. I got a braid. So, the one mechanic that you're going to have is the... God, where are my notes?
Shredder.
No, I'm not worried about Shredder as a tank, honestly. Because the
missiles?
Shredder is just... The range better take care of that. You better put it in the right place. Otherwise, I'm going to be over there with the Shredder mob going, where'd he go? No, there's a debuff that Black Fuse gives you. The debuff, because I am wonderfully prepared for this, Reed wasn't. Hi, Wowhead. Tell me your stuff. Electrostatic charge. That's what I was looking for. Electrostatic charge is going to be applied to the tank, and it's going to increase the damage taken by 100%. But any targets with reactive armor, you will do 200% damage back. This is going to stack up to 3, at which point it should be timed with a Shredder mob that comes out. once the shredder mob comes out, your other tank will taunt away from you. You run over to where the shredder is, put him down on a bunch of buzzsaws, and just wail on him. You should be doing massive damage to this guy because he's got an enormous health pool. When you're done with the shredder, you're going to run back and wait for the other tank to have 3 stacks, the shredder to come out, and you're going to taunt off. And honestly, that's the whole fight for brewmasters.
So there was a note in the dojo that is excellent tip. If you want to down that shredder really quick, Juen is your friend.
He is.
Pop that on that shredder, and that shredder will disintegrate. Especially after he does that death from above. He's stunned and takes extra damage. Pop Juen on that, and bye-bye shredder.
Yeah, and especially with a brewmaster tank, you should not need anyone to help you kill that thing. I understand that some other tanks might have an issue or two, but they should have enough vengeance to last them to kill that thing. Plus, it's beating on you for quite a bit. It can take a lot of damage. And if you need a little bit more vengeance, there's always standing in the buzzsaws for a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to place him there anyways. The big thing about that fight, to really be able to just wail on Siegecrafter and get it down quickly, is having him do a death from above so that it lands on at least 3 of those buzzsaws. That's really it. Other than that, just try and avoid the stuff coming out of the ground all the time. It's a chaotic fight. There's fire, buzzsaws everywhere. It's like the worst high school nightmare you've ever had.
Yeah. All right. Are there any useful talents or glyphs above the standards that you would recommend for this fight?
It's going to be a lot of physical damage. So you're going to want dampen harm instead of diffused magic. Mainly because of the wailing that you're going to get from that shredder and Siegecrafter. There is going to be a little bit of magic damage, but for the most part, every single bit of fire damage you're going to be able to move away from. You shouldn't ever be hit. Dampen harm's really good to have. Schwen is really good to talent for. I've seen some people use leg sweep for the shredders to kind of stop them in place and say, okay, you're going this far, no further, and then I pull you away from the mage you're trying to eat. Celerity is actually kind of useful because it gives you 3 rolls to get out there. That room is enormous, so you need to roll halfway across the room before you can even think of engaging a shredder. Those would be my picks. As far as glyphs, you want to do Glyph of Guard for that extra guard damage. And that's really it.
All right. Now, Yuki, you want to handle Mistweaver on this one?
Yes. Mistweavers, prepare to get tunnel vision because this fight is extremely boring for us. What you want to do is basically up to you. You can either fist weave or you can mistweave. Either way, you should be in melee range to avoid the saw blades and all that stuff. Useful talents, there really isn't much. I mean, it depends on how you're healing. I like to use Chi Torpedo on this one because when I do tunnel vision and the board drills are on the ground, I like to Chi Torpedo into the center once it's done and forget about the rest because it's like a ripple effect on the floor. Just you forget about the rest once you're in the center. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, just make sure everyone's healed up, and a healer should be in range to cover the range, and you're just covering the tank, tanking Black Fuse and all the melee. You could, if you don't like Chi Torpedo, you could use Rushing Jade Wind. Since you are in melee, everybody should be stacked up, and that should help with healing as well. Other than that, it's just basic healing rotation.
Okay.
And
One of the
heal
things-
everything.
One thing that I would recommend also, if you wanted clever use of monk mechanics here, is as soon as that shredder does the death from above, he's stunned and takes additional damage. If you're within range, you can turn and use your Crackling Jade Lightning to get chi and do a crap ton of damage to that shredder. And that will help out your team as well.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Any talents or glyphs that you would recommend besides Rushing Jade Wind?
Not really. I mean, if your team is taking a lot of damage, you could use Zen meditation, so you could move around while you pop that, in case the board drills do come on the ground or you get hit by a saw blade. You can still have it activated while you move. Renewing Mist is a must. Surging Mist, especially if you're fist weaving, but that's about it.
Okay, cool. All right, now for the fun part. Windwalkers.
Yay!
Yeah. So, get used to the belt, because that's pretty much all you're going to do in this fight.
You know, Windwalkers with scumbag rogues and hunters, they really make up the priority for the belt team. They do a fantastic job, especially with the ability to cleverly use their abilities to bypass some other mechanics.
Yep. We'll get to that. So, typically you're going to be targeting, this is going to depend on your raid team, but most raid teams are going to take the crawler mine first and the magnet second. So those are going to be your targets. So here's some interesting things you're going to do when you get onto the belt. So the Touch of Karma is one of the best cheesing mechanics on normal, also on heroic. If you're having problems getting that last bit on that weapon, you hit Touch of Karma on it and just walk through the laser. On normal, you can usually take 2 to 3 ticks, and that's going to put your health in damage on that weapon. And that's going to be really fantastic. So in heroic, you have to do a little trick, right, Air?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff you got to do in heroic, but to mitigate that damage, because it kind of tickles a little bit in normal. If you're in heroic, you really need to spec into diffuse magic at the same time. It's the only way to live through it, because one touch of that beam is 10 million damage.
That's a little bit more than how much health we have.
It sucks. It's an instant death, especially if you're playing at a 200 thing, and stuff happens. But so yeah, if you spec in Touch of Karma and diffuse magic, I even recommend making your own macro, so that because diffuse magic is off the GCD, I think. Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you macro them together, so you don't have to worry about hitting it at the same time. Do that, and you basically are able to run through one beam. But when you do that, you've just applied 2 to 3 million damage to that weapon instantly.
Which is about 30% of its health.
It's about 30% of its health. So I'll use this as a oh crud moment, as in I messed up somewhere, maybe I was late doing some of the setup work for the belt, but it's a great oh crud. Or if you're just that pro, use it every 90 seconds, and get it. I think it's every alt you can almost use that on, then, to really help just destroy it. So that's what you got to do.
Okay, so before hopping into the pipe, setting up is going to be incredibly crucial, especially if you're soloing. So right as you're hopping in, hit Expel Harm. That's going to give you 2 chi. If your target is second or third on the belt, like let's say that there's a laser first and your mine second, go to town on that laser, start building up your Tiger Eye Brew, put your Tiger Power on, get up to 4 chi, and then start going to town on the crawler mine as soon as it's out. So you can build up a lot of stuff. You just don't kill the first thing, and unless you're air, we're not going to do that right away. So getting off the belt, if this is your first time doing it, this is going to be hilarious for your raid team. So the first thing someone's going to do is you get to the end of that belt and you see the pipe, and you're like, okay, I'm going to jump into the pipe, and then when you jump, you stop moving laterally.
The forward momentum suddenly stops for some reason.
And so you're like,
physics.
Yes, jump, and you go off into oblivion and die. And so here's the trick: you can Flying Serpent Kick right off the belt. So if you're good and you kill that thing before about halfway, what you do is you line up, you're running, you're keeping ahead, stop moving, and then Flying Serpent Kick. If you keep moving, you're going to go at an angle and Flying Serpent Kick into your doom. So run, stop, Flying Serpent Kick, and that's going to send you straight off. If you're worried about that and you Flying Serpent failed a few times, just get to the end and walk onto the pipe. If you walk onto the pipe, you're not worrying about jumping, and you should be fine. If all else fails, just keep running. It'll pull you off.
Yeah. You can also, if you're up there with a team, or you're able to solo the belts and get it done a little bit earlier, you can from the middle of the platform where it's closest to the belt, you can jump like a regular running jump off that flying serpent kick, or I usually like to roll off of it too. So that's a nice, real easy way to get off the belt too.
Yeah. Again, just make sure you stop moving or only moving forward when you hit, because if you're
going perpendicular to the belt is the best way to do that.
Yes, if you're strafing to try to keep forward, you're gonna cause hilarity for your team.
True story.
Yes, I have done that more times than I care to admit.
And if you're doing this on heroic and you have to get off the belt early, be very careful with your timing, because you can flying serpent kick off and then stop yourself. That's very important. Is to if you don't go too far. Let's say you have the circular fire lines, anything like that, or you happen to be you can see where you're about to go. There's a misplaced saw, there's some fire, there's something. Remember, you can double tap your flying serpent kick button to stop yourself before you get to it, which is a very handy thing to do.
Absolutely. Okay, so Air, I'm going to let you go pro here. How do you solo the belt?
You roll a Windwalker. No, I mean, the thing to keep in mind is a normal 10-man. You're looking at around 3 million health for the each weapon. On heroic 10-man, it is about 10 million, and I don't know what it is for the different flex things or 25, because 25 is you just have to send a team up there anyways. Usually about 3 or 4 people. But if you're a Windwalker and you're looking to bypass the mechanics, what is the debuff called? When you get onto the belt.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but basically it means once you get on the belt, you are locked and you can't go in for 30 seconds.
Exactly. You have to skip one rotation, essentially, or 75% of one rotation. And what it does is you're able to use your Transcendence to a really great usefulness in this fight. So what you have to end up doing is you jump onto the belt the first time or whatever. You get as close to the arena as you can on that. If you're facing where the weapons are coming out on the left side of that, get as close to that first fire line as you can. Keep in mind the cast time. Drop your clone, or drop your first Transcendence. Wail on whatever weapon you can. Great. You have it killed. You have killed it in the center somewhere because you were that great, or you have someone else helping you out, and you guys are pros at this. Jump off the belt, flying serpent kick off the belt, use the pipe to get off the belt if you have to, or just stay there and wait. If you go past that last fire line, unless you have really well timed your placement, or you're able to get back into the pipe, when you're pulled off the belt past the last fire line, then it will most likely outrange where you dropped your teleport. So you really want to avoid that. But if you did everything else right, the next time you come across, as soon as those weapons pop up and you have that pattern recognition, thank you, Waffle Monk, pattern recognition debuff, teleport. You teleport back to the belt. It gives you a second, maybe a quarter second, to position yourself, and you're ready to go. Just start wailing on whatever you can. That first one, if you are there for the very first one, the second one, you can wait 9 to 10 seconds and pop your next one so you have a one waiting for you, and just repeat that pattern. Every other one, you're either going to do Transcendence or take the pipe.
So when you teleport back onto it, do you get pattern recognition again?
You do not.
Okay, so
you only pattern recognition.
You only have to do the Transcendence trick every other time then.
Every other one, yes.
Okay.
So and that's really nice. Yeah, if you teleport to the belt, you do not regain the debuff, which is nice. And you can kind of game the system a bit. If you have a wipe and your Transcendence is up there in the beginning, start the fight, and just port up there and drop your thing in there, and you're actually ahead of the game by 7 to 8 seconds than where you normally would be, which is really, really important sometimes.
Very nice.
So it's a very, very neat thing to do. Be careful the direction you're facing when you drop your teleport.
Right.
This is very important because you'll start, if you're running and you start, your teleport is facing, if it's facing the entrance of the weapons, great, you're ready to go. But if you happen to be facing the arena and you drop your teleport and you're on the edge of the belts, and the first thing you do is hit that roll button, you have just killed yourself because you'd be rolling in the direction that you're facing.
And hilarity ensues.
Yeah, so or if you happen to do it while facing the fire lines, that is also a bad thing to do.
Yep.
So be very careful of the direction you're facing. One of the things I like to do is I also like to take Tiger's Lust for this, because it does allow me to quickly move myself in position for belt duty, to have my placement set up. Yeah. When you're running Heroic and the fire lines are moving all the time, this is important. On normal, it's still important, but you do have a little bit more wiggle room in case you make a mistake.
Okay. So another clever monk mechanic here is to avoid a wipe. You can Flying Serpent Kick to the ledge at the end of the belt from the main platform. And this will treat you as if you were on the belt. And if you're the last person standing there, you will prevent the wipe and be able to mass res. So helpful to reduce your repair costs.
Mm-hmm. This is a nice thing for anyone to do. Like, let's say you're about to wipe, send everyone towards the pipe.
Yeah, everyone can jump.
Everyone.
In the pipe.
Yep. Everyone who's not on the pipe, jump in the pipe, and as soon as the last person has lost aggro off the platform, either through death or shadow meld, something like that, it makes for very, very quick wipe recovery. It's a way to, if you're having a lot of trouble, you can maybe have only a minute between pulls in that case, which is really nice.
Yeah. Okay, so for talents, not too many here. Is fairly straightforward fight. Like Eric said, Tiger's Lust is really helpful, especially if you're doing the belts. Juen really is only useful level 90 here because there is no AoE, and Diffuse Magic can help if Overload starts getting crazy, but it shouldn't. And you have enough defensive cooldowns to take care of that. But Diffuse Magic probably required here because lasers, freaking laser beams, yes. Chi Wave, more DPS on your target, can also be useful before it's in melee range, so that that weapon's coming out and you can zap it through the fire beams, so that's always cool.
Same with Crackling Jade Lightning to help build. That's really good if you happen to either before or after, because you always want to be building chi. Your job is to build chi.
Okay, and I think we've already gone over the glyphs. Zen Med, really good.
Yes, Zen Med is a good glyph because another oh crud kind of moment is if your Touch of Karma is on cooldown, your Diffuse Magic's on cooldown, and you're about to hit the fire, pop Zen Med, go through the fire beam, start running after you're through it, and that should keep you alive as well, too, briefly.
And you mentioned
I like
Spinning Fire Blossom, too.
Yeah, I like the glyph of Spinning Fire Blossom because it's not a lot of damage, but if you have just a little bit more to go and you happen to have outranged the last the weapon at any point, normally the Spinning Fire Blossom travels in a straight line and hits whatever it hits. But we don't need to worry about stunning or rooting anything, so take the glyph. It means that whatever you're targeted at, the Spinning Fire Blossom will hit.
Yeah.
So if you happen to have to go through a weapon, it'll actually skip that weapon and go to your target, and you get that damage. And if it's a crit, that's 100k damage just about. So that's important to have, especially if you're built up on chi and things like that. Another one I really... sorry, there's a truck out there. Godzilla is on his way. That's a warning horn. I forget the name of it. The Healing Spheres glyph.
Fortuitous?
Not fortuitous spheres, not afterlife, but the one that allows your spheres to last for 3 minutes.
Okay.
This is important. When you have downtime on this fight, make sure there's 3 healing spheres up. Period. That's what you do. This is our job on this fight for off healing. Because you will be taking damage from the platform in the overloads. You will have people coming to help you out on the belts who might have to run through fire lines, and they have stacked superheated. Drop those wherever you can, in the front area especially, and be ready to help heal people. So by doing this, it's a great help. By keeping it with 3 minutes, if you don't need them, they're still there for the next time. And I like to make sure that I start the fight with 3 spheres already on the belts to start off with as well.
Cool. All right, well, it's now time to meditate and expand our knowledge in
Transcendence.
All right, continuing our series of topics for new monks, we're going to discuss the pros and cons of different stat priorities for each spec. Something dropped today is a crash course for every DPS spec in the game. Well, at least one per class. So the monk one goes over Windwalker. Basic priorities. So if you're brand new to the monk class, first of all, welcome. You made the right choice. And second of all, check this out. We will put the link in the show notes, and you can just type Crash Course Monk. I'm sure it's going to pop up right away. So this will go over like Tiger Power, Rising Sun Kick, things like that. Now, Rotund is having a field day because they didn't mention Fist of Fury at all. But
it's supposed to be, here's how to do easy DPS to survive on the Timeless Isle.
Right.
It's not a raid guide. It's not, hey, here's how to take down Heroic Garage solo on your Windwalker Monk. It's not that.
Right.
It's, hey, you have 489 gear and you don't know what the hell you're doing because you just picked Monk on the screen before this.
Right. So it's good. It gives you some visuals, show you what to do, and explains the different UI elements, everything like that. So if you're brand new to the Windwalker, go check it out. It's really going to be handy and help you out a lot. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about now is stat priorities, how to gear, and we're going to talk pros and cons of each one. So Air, we're going to do monopolize the time even more, so let's go ahead and talk Windwalker. So the standard general accepted practice right now is hit and expertise is your top priority, up to 7.5%. You want to cap that. Then next priority is haste. Now this one is where the debate comes in. What level to get haste? It's subjective. Haste until you're comfortable.
Yeah.
And also
in
depends
general,
on your trinkets.
What kind of style of play you have, you're paying all this stuff. But generally accepted right now is as much haste as possible. And really, if you're getting up to you're fully normal geared, you're working on some of the heroics, it's really easy to get 12,000 haste, 12,000 haste pretty easily while maintaining around your crit cap. So if you have AOC, that's generally worth 1,500 to 2,000 haste. So play around with it, see what works for you. I have fun running as much as around 13,000 haste, but I'm trying to work on energy capping a little bit and be a little bit more useful with my chi, so better play. So I'm dropping that down a little bit more to like 12.5.
I actually went up, now that I got the trinkets, I have Foxtail Tip and Harems, I went up to 14,000. And
how'd it feel?
It feels good.
It's a lot of G. It's
Yes.
And what they're talking about with next expansion, with us being GCD capped. Every time you're hitting a button, you have something to do, especially if you're using your Chi Brew properly, you're using your Energizing Brew properly, and you're still using Fist of Fury once every 30, 40 seconds.
Yeah,
so,
I'm still surprised that I'm running out of Chi. I'm running out of energy. I'm still having to use Tiger Eye Brew with 14,000. I thought for sure I was gonna be able to ignore Fist of Fury and Tiger Eye Brew. Not the case.
No, I mean Chi Brew?
Well, no, I'm using Chi Brew. Yeah, but no,
Tiger's Eye Brews are 10 stack of damage.
Oh, Energizing Brew. Sorry.
There we go. Okay.
I'm on Dayquil right now, so forgive me. So no, using Energizing Brew. I'm having to use that still, even though I thought I wasn't going to. But it helped that I got a second graphics card, so now I'm not frame rate lagging at all, which is awesome.
That's good.
So that really helps. Having good connection helps as well. So basically what you're shooting for is a haste level where you are not energy capping and you are not wasting chi. So you're finding that perfect balance. You're gonna have to play around with it. So a lot of the top level raiders are going for 11, 12, 13. Even I know Rotan goes up to 14. So that's kind of the area you're going to want to play around with. Once you get comfortable with it, you're going to go crit, then mastery. So we talked a few weeks ago about mastery. The pros of mastery is that you get more Tiger Eye Brew. You have more uptime on Tiger Eye Brew. And so that is a playstyle that is valid. You're not going to put out as good of numbers, but if it fits your playstyle better, it's possible that you're going to put out as good of numbers if you go crit. But the general accepted is haste until comfy, crit, then mastery. Crit cap is a soft cap. It's only going to be for our white damage, melee damage. 57% for dual wield.
60% dual wield, 60% before 3% boss hits.
Right. And then the two-hander, I forget what it is, but significantly higher, you're going to have a hard time even hitting that. So
yeah.
But,
and I forget exactly what the raw stat number is for crit. For haste, if you're running around 13,000, 13,000 haste is around 30% haste, slightly over, I think.
It's like 32.89 right now with the 14,000. So, all right. So that's generally accepted. I mean, if you want to play around with mastery and crit, figure out what your numbers are. But the reason that haste scales so well is just because of your metagem and legendary cape.
And our PPM trinkets.
Yeah, our PPM trinkets.
Affected
so
by
those
that.
are all affected.
Mr. Fury cast time is affected. Your Crackling Jade Lightning is affected, I think. I mean, a lot of things are affected by haste.
Yep. So.
And if with a high enough gear level, you're running, 12, 13,000 haste. You're running 55, 57% crit after the boss suppression. So by having leftover stats, you're running 50% mastery, which is ridiculous because it's difficult to spend it that fast sometimes.
Yep. All right, we're going to go to Mistweavers and stop hogging all the time. All right. Now, Yuki, let's go ahead and talk stats.
All right, if you're starting off with a Mistweaver, boosted to 90 or just leveled 1, you basically want to go Spirit first because you're going to be Mistweaving first. Basically, you just want enough Spirit to where you're comfortable, meaning you are finishing a fight with 20 stacks of Mana Tea and 90% of your Mana, then you obviously want to reforge out of Spirit because you have way too much. Once you reach that point where you're comfortable, you want to reach your haste breakpoint, which is 16.65%, or 4719 haste rating. What this does is every time you gain more haste, you get more ticks on your Renewing Mist, which is your main healing spell. Note that if you are reforging while you're in the stance of the Wise Serpent, you get plus 50% haste on items, so haste rating value you need to reach is different. Once after that, crit is your next best stat because it will provide you with the largest amount of healing output. This is because haste rating is not valuable after the soft cap. Mastery is also not valuable until after Mist of Pandaria. I think it'll be valuable in Warlords because of our Chi Explosions or level 100 talents. But for now, Healing Spheres that proc off of our Mastery isn't that viable. It's like the old Lightwell for Priests. You have to run around and run into the balls just like you used to have to run around and click on the Lightwell. Yeah, if you're Fist Weaving, eventually after your Mist Weaving stats, crit is your biggest stat to go. And you're basically reforging the hell out of Spirit. Spirit is behind Mastery once you're Fist Weaving in that gear section.
Duke, you got anything to add to that?
Now, Yuki got everything right on the head. Like he said, you're going to want haste up to a certain point. If you're fist weaving, you're going to stop at the first haste break point, and you're not going to go past that because you're not going to get any benefit out of it other than the occasional renewing miss spam. If you're mist weaving, you want to go up to the second and the third, depending on your gear. But the trick is to have as much crit as possible. You want, if it's got crit on it, you want it, even if it has strength. All right, well, maybe not that far, but crit is life.
Yeah. Okay, and Brewmaster, I'm going to turn it over to you, Duke.
All right, this was fun since I recently went through it as a brand new Brewmaster. There's two ways to gear. One of them is survival, and the other one is output. The survival stat priority is, like always, and it's going to be the same on the DPS one, get your expertise to 15%, get your hit to 7.5%. After that, your priority is going to be stack on that mastery, put on a bunch of stamina up until to a point where you feel comfortable. You're going to want to crit just a little bit. So basically, if you can't get mastery or stamina, you want to crit. And then haste is really an oddball one. A lot of brewmasters like to have around 3 or 4K, which is the very, very minimum that you want to have. Some go as high as 8,000, but you're never going to want to go as high as the levels that Chai was talking about. 14,000 hit is a waste of time for a brewmaster. You're not going to be spending that much energy. If you are stacking mastery like crazy, you are going to have a shuffle that is just outside of normal bounds. You're going to walk in with a 60% shuffle. It's just you get hit, 60% of it goes away, and you purify as much as you want. That's why this is the best way for a new brewmaster to gear. If you're not a new brewmaster, or you got a good idea of how the fights go, you can try the DPS stat, and what you're going to do is essentially flip the whole scale. You don't want stamina, because forget it. Stamina means that you're wasting a stat. Expertise, hit, Kappa as always. But then you're going to stack on as much crit as possible. It's like a Mistweaver. You want crit, more crit, all that crit, love the crit, happy with crit. You want haste, again, somewhere between 4. This time you might go up to 11. Right now I'm sitting at about 7,000 haste, I want to say, and it feels comfortable. Because again, as a brewmaster, it's more important for you to keep your energy within a certain level than it is for you to be able to regen your energy back up to max all the time. You're also going to be pulling your chi. You're going to hold on to at least 2, sometimes 3 chi. You want to hold on to for 2 in case you need it for a guard. Mastery, you can put a little bit on. If you want to augment your DPS with your survival, you kind of go for a hybrid of both, in which you're going to keep mastery and crit at about the same level, haste at whatever level you feel comfortable, and as always, expertise and hit are capped. And that's the very basics when it comes to gearing a brewmaster.
Yeah, it's crit for output and mastery for survival. That's basically the game plan.
That's it.
I have a question. When do you decide whether you want a survival build or a DPS build?
It really depends on how familiar you are with the fight. In my case, I switched over from survival to the DPS output about a month ago, because at that point we'd already gone through and cleared a ton of siege where we've got 3 healers. I'm not taking that much damage. I noticed that I didn't need to purify a whole lot because my stagger damage was easily being healed away by the healers, so that wasn't a big deal. And once you kind of got the rhythm right, then you know, okay, guard here, dodge, put on your dodge brew. What the heck is that called? Elusive brew. That's it. But once you're getting comfortable with where you're going to use those cooldowns, you're kind of going to want output, because then at that point you're the 6th DPS or the 7th DPS. And there were some fights just last Friday where I was putting out almost as much DPS as one of our hunters.
Yep.
Who is like topping the meters, and it's like I'm there number 2, and then all the other DPS below me, because I'm just pounding on this thing. Because Rising Sun Kick is nice for you Woodwalkers, but that don't compare to Keg Smash. Yeah. Oh my God, is that the greatest thing ever?
That Keg Smash, man. Garrosh, you guys are insane on Garrosh, because it's you get enough vengeance going on, and then you get that mind control and just one keg smash, and all of a sudden, oh look, everyone's done with mind control. Cool.
Or dead.
Yeah, or dead. Yeah, one or the other.
But yeah, when I switched over from the survival build to the DPS build, my DPS on phase 1 garage went from about 150 to a sustainable 400.
Yep. So a very common thing is if you're going 25 man, the increased damage input is going to push you more towards mastery. You're going to want more of a survival build on 25. On 10, you want to push more towards crit. It all depends on your raid team. At this point of the expansion, usually you're going to be going crit, and more crit.
Yeah, especially if it's on farm, forget it. You're gonna eat all that crit like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should reforge into that then, because the only fight I have to practice on is shamans, and that's because I'm like, hey, I have a tank off spec. Can we 3-tank this one, please?
Yeah.
But that's the only fight I tank on at the moment. But it seems fun. I have a survival build right now. The healers supposedly say they don't have problems healing me, but I see like cooldowns flashing all over the place. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta press this, I gotta press that. Oh, guard, poop. So.
When I started with Brewmaster, it was like that, where I was just constantly pressing buttons every GCD, and then I realized I don't need to push every single button I have all the time. If I don't have a button to push, I'm gonna spam the crap out of Tiger Palm.
Yeah, it's a fundamental shift in mentality going from especially Windwalker to Brewmaster, is that you don't have to press all the buttons. You have to press the right button at the right time.
Yeah, you're still going to try and avoid energy capping. But basically, you want to keep your energy between about 40 and 80. So you never want to spend all the way out. You need to hold on to a little bit in case you need to do an emergency expel harm. Tiger Palm is free. It doesn't cost any chi. It doesn't cost any energy. So that's the one that you hit all the time. And the reason why you're doing that is it doesn't do as much damage as like a blackout kick does. But once you get up to about 800,000 damage, somebody gets a shield.
Yeah.
Especially, if you've got your statue out. So you don't need to push all the buttons all the time, and that's what I was doing. I was using my elusive brew on cooldown. I was using my guard whenever it was up, and it's like, no, that's the wrong thing to do. These are the tools that I need to survive the fight. So I need to use them when I'm about to take a big punch to the face.
Yeah. All right, so those are the stats. Feel free to use Asmus Robot and other tools needed to figure out the right stats for you, especially check out Siegecraft. That's going to be your best tool to actually figure out your actual weights. So I think it's now time to travel to the Peak of Serenity, the home for all monks in
Zen Pilgrimage.
Monks, assemble!
All right, Dojo, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the Dojo. We'll get them answered here. All right, community blogs. Let's take a look at BlizzCon 2014. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. Poor Air.
I'm stoked.
Yep. So, let's talk.
How Air not going?
Yeah, you got to come, Air.
I'm in Japan.
So?
And
it's closer to you than it is to me.
You go to UK repeatedly, so
like
family.
Scotland, that's down the road.
Family
LA?
there. I have a wedding there.
We're not your family. We're not your family, Air. Really?
This fall, I'm going back to America.
Are you going Paladin
for Christmas? Maybe some other places, But
We'll miss.
to fit all that in, I have 2 planned long distance trips. To fit a third one in, plus the tickets. They don't pay English teachers that much here.
Do like Duke and I is doing. Don't buy the tickets. Just show up.
Don't bother with BlizzCon. BlizzCon's a scam.
Yeah.
But tickets to LA, that's awesome.
Yeah. So let's talk some cool sites out there. Now, Jade Dot, who does chiburst.com, she partnered with Elvine, right? Yeah, she partnered with Elvine to create lfblizzcon.com. So looking for BlizzCon. This is
if you want tickets, go there. There's like 20 tickets, and 3 of them are below face value.
Mm-hmm. They're just trying to recoup their money. That's it.
That's just it. You cannot post a ticket for more than face value. So that's your maximum, $203, right?
Yep.
But there's a lot of people who are basically saying, hey, I will give you this ticket for $175 if you pay the PayPal fees.
Yeah.
You can't compete. And as this goes closer and closer to BlizzCon, you're going to see a lot more people posting it on here.
Yep. And also, this is a place to look for roommates. So if you already have your ticket and you're going to BlizzCon, but you want to split some hotel fees, because hotels are pretty expensive too. This is a great place to go. You can find roommates. You can get tickets. If you have an extra ticket, here's a good place to post it. So, and if you're looking
Help
for roommates,
out your community members.
Yep.
Every ticket that goes into the hands of someone who wants to be at BlizzCon is a ticket less that the scalpers can sell for $600, $800.
Absolutely. All right, so we have a group me set up for monks that are planning to attend BlizzCon. So if you want to get in on that, so we'll be communicating with that during the weekend, setting up some impromptu meetups. We'll try to set up some meetups ahead of time as well. If you want in on that, you can reach us at show@monkmeditation.com or Daikatsu or me on Twitter. And we'll get you added to that. So we're going to try to set up some plans. I'm thinking possibly like a Disneyland Monk Day on Sunday, if you're hanging around. That would be a ton of fun.
Would be cool.
Yep, so we're going to have a lot of things going on, so definitely, if you're going, let us know. All right, Dojo, you got any questions out there? I didn't see any.
Did not see it. No.
All right.
Just a lot of people talking about BlizzCon.
Yes.
There.
Yes.
Yes.
And then Dark Lady looks like she got her tickets from, with the help of Daikatsu, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be joining you guys from the comfiness, from the comfortable couch of mine, maybe with some sushi in my right hand, some sake in the left hand, Godzilla out the window, and virtual ticket.
I heard there was a recent attack of Godzilla.
Apparently there was. It maybe happened north of here, but I think they got him taken care of. So.
Heard he was there Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
everyone is all up in arms here because a lot of people felt like Godzilla gained a lot of weight from his previous Japanese incarnations.
He's been out of the game for a while. That happens when you just.
A Japanese.
He's what, in his 50s?
He might be, yeah. But I mean, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's pretty old. He's still, pretty.
Okay, I'm gonna put this train back on the rails here. All right. So
I don't know if they make steroids that big.
I know Duke and I will both be there. I think we are going to attempt to do a Monk Meditation live at BlizzCon.
Very cool.
Hopefully during the World of Podcast event sometime. And now, Yuki, if you can make it, you're more than welcome to join us as well. So
I am hoping.
Yep.
Yeah. In case you guys haven't figured it out, Chai and I have not bought tickets to BlizzCon. We're just going to be there that weekend and just get drunk with everyone who's there.
Yep.
That's the plan.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's like $200 for it. It's kind of funny. I'll be paying more than $200 for a hotel. I'll be paying more than $200 for airplane, but $200 to stand in line. F that.
Yep. But we make fun with the BlizzCon tickets and all of that. But if you've never been to a BlizzCon, you really need to go. It's a great experience and a great con. So do it. Get the experience. I did it in 2009, and it was fantastic because that was the Cataclysm reveal. And every now and then I still watch that launch trailer that they had where they say, flying in Azeroth, and the entire audience just shook with energy. That's what you're going to get at BlizzCon. It is the most amazing electric energy that you won't feel anything quite like it.
All right, well, let's go ahead and sign off here. Now, Yuki, you got any shout-outs?
Yes. My sister, who just had her birthday recently, who doesn't even listen to the show.
Useful
my
use
raid
of our time
team
here.
Yes. My raid team, Edamame Enterprise, is always my fam. We're going to progress in heroics, which is cool. And the biggest shout out in the world to Wafi, who is in the chat room, because Wafi is nice enough to be holding 2 BlizzCon tickets for me and so
Nice.
hoping to go.
Good job, Waffy.
Super cool.
Yes.
All right, Air.
Shout out to the guys from Working as Intended. Especially, we got a new raid leader, Glaive, and he does a lot of hard work. You know, all these guys have switched mains. Glaive went from DK to Warlock. It's a big deal to do this, but shout out to our new fearless leader. And all you guys in the dojo, thanks for coming out to seeing us today. It's always nice. I'm looking down at my screen where the dojo is. I actually should be looking at you guys, but thank you guys for coming and everything like that.
All right, and Duke.
I want to give a shout out to a fellow podcast network member. The Epic Podcast team worked their ass off this weekend to raise a ton of money for the Child's Play charity. They pulled a all day from, I think it was 11 a.m. Saturday to 11 a.m. Sunday marathon, including a couple of Flex Rage, one Horde and one Alliance. Chai and I took part of the Alliance Flex, and we got to spoils officially, but we took down Thok about 10 minutes later. The Horde Flex team got to Nazgrim, so yay Alliance, we beat their asses. But the most important part is that they raised $1,750 for the Child's Play charity. And that is an amazing amount. Now, it's not over. You can go to epicpodcast.com. They have their Child's Play Marathon there. You can still go there, donate. Child's Play is a fantastic charity that helps out children in hospitals forget why they're in the hospital. Their whole point is to make that hospital stay as painless as possible for both them, their siblings, and their parents by providing games of all kinds. They help out a ton of hospitals, several in the local area for me here, and it's great work that they do, and I wholly support them.
And if they raise the $2,500 by the time that's pulled down, who was it? Was it Seraphis, or who was it that's going to eat Vegemite and record it?
That was Martin. That was Marty. While
Marty.
Martin was going to
Martin.
eat Vegemite. Now,
Didn't you say not just Vegemite, but a can or container of Vegemite, was it?
Yeah.
I don't know about that, if that's punishment, because I actually quite like Vegemite, but I know I'm weird.
What? Okay. Wow. All right, I'm going to give a shout out to Ben for donating to the show. Your support keeps us up and running. Thank you so much, and cheers and best of luck in your new position. If you want to donate to the show, you can visit monkmeditation.com, click the support our show button, or at twitch.tv/wowmonk. Like Duke said, shout out to the Epic Podcast for letting me and Duke run in that flex and help them raise money for Child's Play. And just to let you guys know, I will be on the Converted podcast next Monday. That's the podcast where they convert to raid team or guild on Airy Peak. So I'll be on that show on Memorial Day, so should be fun. Lots of brewskis going on, I'm sure. All right, well, I think it is time to put the brew away. So please go ahead and rate us on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube, or on twitch.tv. As part of the Monk community, if you have a person, blog, website, anything you want to see on the show, reach out to us via email at show@monkmeditation.com. The Monk community is the best one in the World of Warcraft, and we want to showcase it. Duke, how can the dojo best reach us?
You can follow the show at monk_meditation. You can follow Chai T at wowmonk. Naoyuki can be found at Naoyuki_CTR. Air is at Airwalker. I am at Daikatsu CTR, no underscore. And Captain Crunch can be found at KPTN Crunch.
All right, thank you all for listening so much. We really appreciate it. You can catch us live in 2 weeks, June 2nd, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 100 UTC, at twitch.tv/wowmonk. If you can't reach us then, you can catch us after the fact on iTunes, Stitcher, Twitch, YouTube, and monkmeditation.com. We're just all over the place. You can find us. Monk Meditation is part of Catalyst Gaming Media. For other great gaming blogs, podcasts, and events, visit catalystgamingmedia.com. That wraps up this episode of Monk Meditation.
May your brews be strong and your heart stronger.
All right, good night, everybody.